It is time to watch another horror movie. This segment features a very famous Japanese film called Tomie Unlimited. The story takes place one afternoon after school. Tsukiko finds her older sister increasingly beautiful today. She picks up her camera, intending to take some candid photos of her. But shortly after the shutter clicks, her older sister feels a chill at the back of her head. She looks up. A large steel fork, 3 or 4 meters in diameter, appears directly above her. In a state of panic, people's minds are usually blank. Her older sister is no exception. She has no time to dodge. The few people present are all stunned by this scene. The steel fork critically strikes her entire upper body from the collarbone. Her internal pressure balance is broken, which also causes a large amount of fresh blood to flow from her eyes and mouth. But before she dies, her older sister's eyeballs subconsciously glance towards her younger sister Tsukiko. She believes her younger sister is responsible for her death. Both of them simultaneously like an upperclassman named Toshio from the Taekwondo club. The upperclassman also values appearance, so he naturally falls in love with the older sister Tomie, who has an outstanding appearance. As the camera falls to the ground, it captures Tomie's last set of photos in her life. Time fast forwards 1 year later, to Tomie's birthday. The parents place a family photo frame on the table. They buy a cake that Tomie loved to eat when she was alive to celebrate her birthday. Both parents are very happy, but only Tsukiko, with a worried expression, blows out the candles for her older sister. At this moment, her phone rings. Tsukiko also quickly leaves the dinner table. It turns out Toshio, her senior, calls her. He says their Taekwondo club needs to take some promotional photos next week. He asks Tsukiko to help them with this task. Tsukiko is thrilled upon hearing this. She plans to use this opportunity to deepen her relationship with her senior. The doorbell suddenly rings at this moment. Tsukiko hears it and walks over. She is surprised to hear her older sister Tomie's voice. It is her older sister knocking outside. Tsukiko is instantly terrified. She quickly calls for her parents, telling them there is someone outside claiming to be Tomie and asking her to open the door. Her father immediately becomes furious upon hearing this. He absolutely forbids anyone from joking about his beloved daughter. He angrily pulls open the door, ready to beat the person up. But when they realized it was really their beloved daughter, her parents were immediately overcome with emotion. They all embrace Tomie, having missed her terribly. Tomie does not speak. She only stares at her younger sister, whose eyes are hollow. Tomie says she is hungry. Her parents respectfully cut her a few slices of cake. But after tasting it, Tomie says it is too terrible. She demands that her father buy caviar and foie gras, because these items are very expensive. Her father feels a bit embarrassed. Then, she punches and shatters the photo her younger sister took for her. The photo frame mocks Tsukiko for taking ugly photos, until Tomie changes and takes a bath. Tsukiko also hides behind the door and peeks. She wants to see if her older sister's shoulder still has the scar from being critically struck by a rebar. But Tomie's body is completely intact, with no broken places. At this moment, she discovers Tsukiko peeking at the door. Tomie generously invites her to come in and wash together, also saying they often did this before. After hearing this, Tsukiko shyly declines. She says these were all things from childhood. But Tomie has a different opinion. Soon, the time arrives at the morning of the second day. Tsukiko, who just wakes up, is shocked by her father's actions. Tomie is seen delicately tasting caviar and foie gras. But in contrast, her father is eagerly licking Tomie's hair. Facing Tsukiko's strange gaze, the father says this is a feeling of longing for his daughter. He also mocks her, the younger sister, asking why she looks unhappy seeing her older sister return. At the same time, Tsukiko's mother's behavior is also strange. She discovers that her mother has burned all the family photos they took. Tsukiko cannot understand. Normally, her mother always likes these photos very much. But the mother replies that this is what her older sister Tomie instructed. Following her mother's gaze, Tomie then laughs mockingly. The two sisters begin to fight over the last photo. Using too much force, Tomie hits a hard partition. Their father sees that scene. He immediately feels heartbroken. He becomes furious and slaps Tsukiko. Although Tsukiko feels very wronged, her older sister does not intend to let her go. She again asks her father to tie Tsukiko up. She takes out a somewhat thick electric wire. She tells her father to use it to whip her younger sister and teach her a good lesson. Facing Tsukiko's pleas for mercy, the father's eyes also gradually become fierce. He swings fiercely as if possessed. The mother on the side also cooperates very well, firmly holding Tsukiko down and allowing her to be cruelly whipped. But just as Tsukiko cleans the wounds on her body, older sister Tomie suddenly rushes in. She reveals a wicked smile, then pulls aside her long beautiful hair, making Tsukiko admire and kiss her charming shoulder. This time, Tsukiko truly sees the scar on her older sister's shoulder. And from the gap in the wound, a tongue also extends out. Tsukiko is also horrified by this scene. She runs out barely clothed, loudly telling her parents that older sister Tomie is a monster. But as soon as she says this, it again angers the kind father. He slaps Tsukiko's face several times without mercy. But at this time, Tomie insists on leaving home. She believes this family dislikes her very much. The father sees that despite all his efforts to stop her, he still cannot win back his daughter. He simply picks up a kitchen knife from the table. He fiercely stabs towards Tomie's body, again and again, until Tomie completely stops breathing. Tsukiko nearby is also scared senseless by her father's actions. Then the couple starts the cruel dismantling. They cut Tomie into many pieces, big and small, but precisely this action is also Tomie's favorite part. Because dismantling not only cannot neutralize her, but also makes Tomie have many clones. At this moment, the father also expresses his state of mind at the time. He says he does not know why a voice kept appearing in his mind just now, telling him to neutralize Tomie. The father is now filled with regret. The mother, who is cutting meat, tells him to stop talking so much nonsense and to hurry up and get to work. She carries Tomie's head and throws it into the trash can. Afterwards, she does not forget to prepare Tsukiko's school lunchbox. But at this moment, the mother does not notice a piece of Tomie's flesh falling into the rice. Later, in the classroom, the teacher says a new student transferred to the class today and introduces her grandly to everyone. Tsukiko discovers that she looks exactly like her deceased older sister. And she also looks at her with a mischievous smile. This truly leaves Tsukiko stunned. She tells her best friend the transfer student's true identity, saying that person is her older sister, Tomie, whom they also know. But her best friend, after hearing it, is unmoved. The friend completely forgets this person. She also says it might just be because they look alike. Anyway, she just does not know them. As soon as she opened her lunchbox to eat, she discovered it was full of Tomie's tiny head. Tsukiko, scared, quickly closes the lunchbox tightly. Her best friend sees it and thinks she has something delicious. So she proposes that the two of them exchange lunchboxes. Tsukiko, scared, quickly throws the lunchbox into the trash can. But it also just happens to pique her best friend's curiosity. She waits for Tsukiko to leave, then quietly opens the lunchbox in the trash pile, but is immediately scared by this scene, opening her mouth wide, and little Tomie inside also stuck out many tongues, murdering her sister's best friend. By the first class of the afternoon, Tsukiko still does not see her best friend. Tomie also turns her head and stares at her, smiling. In her eyes, she has only evil thoughts for Tsukiko. At the same time, the father, who just finished dealing with the corpse, rests on a chair and suddenly sees Tomie's phone emerge from the trash can. Under Tomie's few words of temptation, the father is quickly bewitched by her, clutching a knife and staring intently at his wife hanging clothes downstairs. Tomie tells him that only by eating meat can she quickly grow her body. So the father takes out a sharp pair of scissors and strides towards his wife. A pig-like scream immediately follows from inside the room. The scene shifts. After Tomie's arrival again, the senior who was once close to her also returns to Tomie's side. She sees Tomie reveal a wicked smile. Tsukiko's heart first feels a sharp pain. But she immediately remembers that Tomie is an extremely dangerous person. So she follows their tracks to an art room. But at this moment, Toshio's insane laughter comes from inside. He continuously brandishes the pen in his hand and neutralized Tomie. Until Tsukiko's shout, Toshio recovers his sanity from the frenzy. He drops the pen in his hand. He is already terrified by the scene before him. He says he was talking with Tomie at the time. But a voice suddenly appears in his mind, telling him to neutralize Tomie. Tsukiko feels very distressed seeing this scene. She quickly pulls Toshio, about to leave the art room. But Toshio says that Tomie is already dead now. There is no such perfect face in the world. He naturally cannot lie either. But at this moment, Tomie, who was stabbed into a bloody mess, actually solidifies into a mass of blood and revives.
綺麗な顔に戻ったわ。敏夫さん、抱いて。
The two immediately embrace and kiss. Tomie's purpose in doing this is to make Tsukiko lose her composure. After hearing this, Tsukiko picks up a pen from the ground. She continuously stabs her beloved senior Toshio, neutralizing him. The last stab directly pierces Tomie's face. The revived Tomie violently vanishes again. At the same time, her best friend chases him to Toshio's club, asking about Tsukiko's whereabouts. But these people's eyes are unfocused, and they are also bewitched by Tomie. He really wants to dismember and kill. The short-haired man also recognizes that the tumor on the best friend's body is Tomie.
Tomie-san? Tomie-san だろ?
違うわ。私はヨシエ。いいえ、
トミエよ。ねえ、この顔の出来物取ってくれる？
嘘。出来物あなたの方じゃない。
出来物を取れってさ。早く切れって言ってるぞ。どうしよう。俺もう見てらんない。俺目つむる。もうどういでもない。行くぞ。
With this snip of the scissors, Tomie, like a headless person, officially took control of her own body. She frantically runs around inside the room and then runs out. Meanwhile, Tsukiko, having just recovered from the emotional turmoil of the murder, turned around and saw the horrifying, headless corpse of her best friend. She also immediately flees frantically inside the building. Arriving at the stairwell corner, those few men, fighting for the right to use Tomie, are all covered in wounds and lie on the ground. Tsukiko also takes the opportunity to run into their lounge and tightly locks the door. She originally thinks this way she can get rid of the terrifying best friend. But immediately after, that thing on the ground covered by a white cloth gives Tsukiko a bad feeling. And when the white cloth falls, it turns out to be a trash can containing Tomie's head. Tsukiko sees this scene and cannot help but cry out, because Tomie is approaching in a strange posture.
Tsukiko?
Soon, Tsukiko wakes up from her bed, covered in sweat. She wonders if all of this is a dream or reality. Her father looks at Tsukiko's tired face and asks if she had a nightmare. Tsukiko tells her parents what happened in the dream and asks her father where her older sister Tomie is. But her parents smile and say Tsukiko is an only child and does not have an older sister. Tsukiko looks at the family photo with some confusion. The photos only show the three of them. Tomie's figure does not appear. Then the next scene completely makes Tsukiko collapse. Her father again loses his mind and frantically bites his hair. Her mother also goes crazy, picks up a knife, and tries to dismantle Tsukiko. But the next second, They take Tsukiko in front of a giant Tomie. Then a human-faced centipede slowly appears. They first devour Tsukiko's parents alive. As Tsukiko frantically ran upstairs, her senior from school rushed up to her and told her that he had never liked Tsukiko. On the contrary, he intensely disliked her. Immediately after, her best friend also runs down from above, saying that Tsukiko actually has no friends and she is not her best friend either. After saying that, Tsukiko casually pushes her down. The centipede then bites her best friend to death. Next, it is Tsukiko's turn. Tomie chases after her with a large number of centipedes. Tsukiko now understands Tomie's purpose. It wasn't that she wanted Tsukiko's family, best friend, and beloved senior. Instead, she wanted to see Tsukiko suffer from being hurt by the person she loved. She knows that Tsukiko is currently a lonely person, neglected by her parents and scorned by her classmates. So Tomie invites Tsukiko to merge with her. Tsukiko gladly accepts. This is because with Tomie, he feels needed. As the centipedes crawled all over Tsukiko, she completely merged with Tomie. Soon, she dresses up and walks out of the house. On the street, she sees Tomie, cherished by her parents. She sees Tomie, who has good best friends.
也看到了真的热恋被人爱的富江。
However, at this moment, a man with glasses appears in front of Tsukiko. He asks where she has been these days, saying he has been looking for Tsukiko for a long time. After hearing this, Tsukiko shows a wicked smile at the corner of her mouth and goes home with the man with glasses. However, the scene quickly shifts, and the man with glasses stabs Tsukiko's body repeatedly with a sharp knife. He also says in a very perverted way that he will never let other men get close to Tsukiko Agai. Hearing this, Tsukiko, however, reveals a smile as if she is loved. Feeling extremely happy, she turns his head to look at a mirror nearby. But the person appearing inside is Tomie. The narrator is also confused at this point. I speculates that the man with glasses was likely a boyfriend Tomie had previously seduced. This is because Tomie's ability is to make others fall madly in love with her, then kill and dismantle her. However, Tsukiko had already merged with Tomie earlier. Therefore, the man with glasses naturally mistakes Tsukiko for Tomie. Ultimately, she helped Tsukiko truly feel needed. Afterward, she dies happily. The situation that causes Tsukiko to lack love so much is also greatly related to her family. This is because Tsukiko is an adopted child since childhood. Her parents never really like her. Tsukiko also never experiences paternal or maternal love. His introverted personality also causes her to be isolated and discriminated against at school. She often receives cold treatment from her classmates. The only senior she secretly loves always ignores her. And her extreme lack of love and inferiority complex also makes her fantasize about an extremely terrifying and selfish older sister Tomie. She ultimately blames all these experiences of not being loved on her older sister.